Vancouver is a beautiful and peaceful place where dozens of different cultures live together, and I plan to do a vlog on each one of them. Today we're in the green pastures of Japantown. With me on camera as always is Rick Von Schmidt. Developers have stopped calling this neighborhood Japantown, they call it Railtown now. But that's not going to slow down our Japanese buddies. They've overcome much more than that. In fact, at the end of this tunnel they're having a big party. But before we get to the festivities, I want to share a brief history of some very resilient and inspirational people. Japanese people started populating this area in the late 1880s. They were working at the nearby Hastings Mill. These old buildings on Powell Street saw some wild action in 1907. A group calling themselves the Asiatic Exclusion League decided they didn't want Japanese people here anymore. And on September 8th of that year, the angry mob of 25,000 people stormed through Japantown, damaging homes and businesses. The riot resulted in the Canadian government banning Japanese immigration. The ban was titled the Gentleman's Agreement. Here's some 1907 pictures taken after the riot. And here's a cartoon of the day illustrating the racism the people of Japantown faced. Another piece of discriminatory evidence can be found in the old city listings. Instead of names, they only say Japanese. Next time you're at the corner of Powell and Gore, look for this nice artistic mosaic that remembers the victims of the 1907 riot. So what did the Japanese Vancouverites do to retaliate? Even though they weren't allowed to vote, they wanted to show their patriotism and represent Canada when World War I started. They weren't allowed to enlist in British Columbia, so they made the long trip to Alberta to sign up. This city was so grateful for their service during the war that they erected this limestone cenotaph in 1920 here in Stanley Park. It honors our Japanese Canadian heroes, many who died in the trenches. Besides their brave service, one of the greatest contributions from the people of Japantown was baseball. In 1914, a team was created, and they called themselves Asahi, meaning morning sun. And they were the best anyone had ever seen. They utilized their speed with great defense and fearless base stealing, and they exploited the bunt to perfection. Their genius method was dubbed brain ball. They became world-renowned, winning numerous tournaments and championships. In the 1930s, they won the Pacific Northwest Championship 5 years in a row. Their home diamond was in Vancouver's Oppenheimer Park, and when they hit the field, the place was packed with spectators. Jam-packed. Recently, this historic plaque was installed to honor that incredible team. Sadly, the Asahi's incredible run stopped in 1941. On December 8, 1941, Canada declared war on Japan, and immediately afterwards the Canadian government decided that the Asahi and the peaceful people in Japantown were evil. The government seized their homes, businesses, cars, and fishing boats. Over 20,000 people were detained without charge or trial, and many were brought here to the livestock barn at the PNE. Among them were some combat veterans from World War I who had been decorated for their bravery fighting for Canada. The people were placed in stables and barnyards where they lived without privacy in a cold, unsanitary environment. Conditions were so bad in here that the Red Cross started delivering food. Here we are in the back of the building. After some time in here, many of the people were sent to prison-of-war camps in the interior and prairies. Families were separated and sent to different camps. After the war ended, they were discouraged from returning to Japantown, and their property was never returned to them. If you take a walk around Japantown today, you'll find some evidence of the businesses that were confiscated by the government. Tomokichi Maikawa and his brothers opened a general store here on Powell Street in 1908. It quickly became a very successful commercial operation where people bought the latest fashions, and you can still see the Maikawa name on top of the building. Just down the block, Yamarichi Morimoto opened a dry goods store here in 1920, and you can still see Mr. Morimoto's name in the tiled entrance. Haya Kujiro Kumura owned this building at the corner of Powell and Dunleavy, and he ran a thriving general store here starting in 1906. His name still welcomes visitors in the mosaic doorway. Like the other victims here, he lost it in 1941 and never got it back. But those injustices never broke the spirit of our brave Japantown friends. In 1977, the citizens here started the annual Powell Street Festival. The festival has always been at Oppenheimer Park, where the Asahi won all those championships. This year they went to set it up and found the park populated with homeless people. The organizers were asked if they wanted the tents removed from the park, but the organizers said, "We have been removed from this place in the past, and we're not about to do the same to some vulnerable people." And so they moved the festival to the streets this year. And here we are back at the party.
I can take your photo too if you'd like.
戻ったかというと、それは一つの方が所有しと持っている所有。
The Powell Street Festival is a celebration of Japanese Canadian arts and culture. It is the largest event of its kind in Canada and the longest running community arts festival in Vancouver. And it's free to the public. And they got it all here. Tasty food, walking tours, kids' activities, traditional displays, sumo wrestling, and craft vendors. Organizers want you to visit, learn about Japanese art and culture, and have some fun. The incredible history of Japantown is slowly starting to be recognized. In 1988, Prime Minister Mulroney issued an apology for the World War II internment. And the Asahi team was inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in 2003 and the BC Sports Hall of Fame in 2005. In 2008, the team was designated an event of national historic significance. And on April 24, 2019, the team was honored with a postage stamp issued by Canada Post. It was such a prestigious event that even entertainment superstar George Takei came to town for the ceremony. I bought some of those stamps at the festival today, along with an Asahi t-shirt. I'm going to wear it proudly. In elementary school, I was sitting beside my best friend Shinya Kato when they taught us about the Japanese internment. It broke my heart. Kato, if you're out there, this vlog's for you, buddy. And that's going to do it for today. We'll wrap things up with a little more entertainment here at the Powell Street Festival. Hope you enjoyed this little taste of old Vancouver as she once was. Thanks to Bev Sugarman for makeup and Jewel Hailmare for wardrobe. On behalf of Rick and myself, thanks for watching. Down until next time. That's good, B.